Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Portraits by Harshal. My name is Harshal and I've been creating pencil and charcoal portraits since a few years. On this channel, I'll be sharing my knowledge about portraiture, tips and tutorials about pencil and charcoal portraits. Throughout my journey, I've been asked this question of how do I manage to draw outlines of sketches, which is the very first step in the portrait making. To be honest, I use a couple of different methods like matrix, pencil measurement and the Andrew Loomis method. Today, I'll be talking about the Andrew Loomis method and how to draw a face using the Andrew Loomis method. Andrew Loomis was an American illustrator and the designer of this method. He published a book way back in 1956 about drawing hands and heads where he describes this method. This method shows us how to draw a face using simple guidelines and circles. So let's get started with the video. Now I'll be starting with creating the front view of a face, and we'll be using just circles and guidelines throughout those circles. So let's get started. I'll show you the front view first, how to draw a face from the front view of the sketch artist. So we'll start by creating a very rough and very vague circle as a reference point to draw a face. And keep in mind, this circle does not need to be very perfect or say geometrically perfect. We are just drawing this for the reference of the figure, and please use a lighter pencil. I'm using a darker pencil just so that this is visible. So now we'll be creating a plus in the center of the circle, which will act as a guideline for creating the facial values. So I've been marking a plus sign in the center of the circle, and we'll divide the rest of the circle also into halves. So for example, this will be the half of the upper hemisphere and this will be the half of the lower hemisphere. We'll mark it with simple lines, and so the middle line will act as our reference for our eyebrows. I'll just darken this so that it is clearly visible. Right. And the upper section which we made, or the upper reference point, which is in the exact middle of the upper hemisphere, will act as a reference for a hairline. And the lower reference point, which is exactly in the half of the lower hemisphere, will act as a reference for the nose. We'll extend the center line to beyond the circle, and we'll try to keep the same distance as between the nose and the end of the circle to the extension of the line, and this point will act as a reference for the chin. So now we have all our references done. We'll try to adapt the facial values here of a face. Now let's just make this reference points a bit darker, and I'll be starting with eyebrows first. So I'll just etch out the blocks of my eyebrows. This is a very rough sketch, so I'm just drawing whatever comes to my mind. Now coming to the nose, we'll just draw a very vague outline of a nose so that we get to know where the nose will be in the complete sketch. Coming to the chin, just darken the chin. I'll just etch out eyebrows first, the eye socket first, where the eye is going to be, so that it gives a proper reference of what we are creating. So the end point of the circle, which is between the nose and the chin, will act as a reference for the lips, and I'll just create the lips over here. Just give it some touches, and the end point of the plus which we created, the horizontal line, will act as guidelines for the structure of the face. I'll extend the chin here to the end of the circle, create a diagonal and a straight line till the eyebrow reference point, which will help us creating the jawbone. Now we'll get the ears done. As we all know, basically the ears are of the size of the length between the eyebrows and the nose. So I'll just etch out my ears here, and then we can extend the hairline to create the upper part of the face, that is the hair. I'm just drawing out some basic figures here. You can change this as per your reference image. So here is how we get the hair done, and this is the front view of any person's face ready from an Andrew Loomis method. I'll also be doing a right hand side view of the face in which 3/4 of the face is been shown. So again, we'll be starting with a very vague circle. And remember guys, always use lighter pencils when you are creating outlines. Here I am just creating a very vague circle like we did earlier. Now this face is rotated slightly towards the right, so our plus sign which we created in the center of the circle will also be moving a little bit to the right, so that we can get exact reference point of where our nose and eyebrows will be. Like we created a center plus here, we'll just be moving it to the right over here in this figure. So here comes the vertical line and the horizontal line, which is basically the reference line for our eyebrows. We'll also be using a circle around here because the face is facing towards the right and we need a planar side, so this will act as a reference point to create the left profile of the face. We'll also extend our reference line of the plus sign here into the circle, which will help us create the jawline and the jawbone. So moving ahead, I'll be creating the hairline, which is exactly in the half of the upper hemisphere, and the nose reference point in the lower hemisphere. This will be our lips, and marking the chin over here. I'll map out my eyebrows first, like done in the last sketch. Here is just a rough outline of how or where the eyebrows will be, etching out the nose, and so hence it's facing a bit towards right. We'll try to create similar values of a person looking to the right. Let's get the nose. I'll get the chin first. So use the jawbone will extend up to the lower end of the circle, and then we'll use a vertical line to connect it to the upper circle, which will help us create a very good lower jawbone profile. And extend the line from the chin to the upper reference point of the eyebrows to create the cheekbones. I'll just map out my eye sockets here so that I know what my values are going to look like. I'll just create outlines of the lips, and just I'll again doing the ears from eyebrows to the nose and connecting it to the vertical line of jawbone which we created, and I'll just finish with creating the hairlines across the reference point of the hairlines. And this is very subjective to your reference, but I'll suggest starting and creating such figures across different angles, so that you can get a good perspective of how this method works and how you can draw human faces using the Andrew Loomis method. So guys, if you like this video,